Welcome to Balanced Body and Beyond. Today we have an all-purpose practice with a lot of dynamic flowing movement. We do mobility work, stretching, strengthening, and all our warrior poses, warrior one, warrior two, and triangle. Something to look forward to. Without further ado, let's roll out our mat and begin in child's pose. Stretching your arms out, spreading your fingers wide, shifting your hips back into the bottoms of your feet, and let your forehead rest heavily onto the mat. We're going to draw air in and out through our nostrils, long, deep breaths. And let's just stay the course. Be patient. Take any rigidity out of the body. And let's dial in to our yoga practice. With your next inhalation, we'll glide our body weight forward, coming into a kneeling plank, and we're going to shift our hips from one foot to the other. So press your hips back to one foot, come into your kneeling plank, and then the other. So we get a little side stretch. And if your toes are pointed like mine, which I'm going to guess most likely they are, we're going to shift that foot placement, and we're going to tuck our toes under and shift our hips side to side here. Drawing our bellies in and keeping our gaze straight down. So we're not looking forward, we're not looking under our body, but just shifting side to side. We're going to come into tabletop pose. So maybe walk your knees a little more forward or your hands back. So we're going to round the back as like we're coming into cat pose, but then we're going to sway to the side. As we release, we're going to drop the belly down, arch a little bit through the back, and then round. So we're going to go in a circular motion side to side, but through that, we are going to round the spine and then release. Good. And if this doesn't work for you and you'd rather do traditional cat-cow pose, that is certainly an option. We'll go one more this direction and then change directions. A little bit of swaying side to side. Long, deep breaths. Just getting acclimated to our practice. It is still very warm here in Pennsylvania, but as you might see, there is a light breeze happening, and it is lovely. All right, hold here, and let's come into a kneeling position, bringing your arms overhead, looking to the ceiling or the trees. And from here, we're going to take our arms back into airplane arms, taking a bow. Inhale, lift, and then open your arms wide. Fingertips touch behind you. Inhale, lift. So we're going to combine these two exercises or two positions from airplane pose, taking a bow. Inhale, lift, and then swinging your arms back behind you so your fingertips touch your tailbone. So some nice work for our shoulders here, sending our arms back, getting a good solid hip hinge. Palms joined together overhead, internal rotation of the shoulders, sliding your arms back behind you. So if you need to change this at all by shrinking your range, one arm might not go back or two arms might not go back. So just modify as you need to. For this and any other future postures, inhale up and hold. Now we're going to step our left leg forward. And with that left leg forward, we're going to take a little hip flexor stretch to start. You can rock, you can keep it dynamic and moving. You can hold. If you need cushioning under your knee, grab something soft. Or you can always, and I do like to remind people of this, you can just fold your mat like this and then set your knee on, and that just by folding the mat there will give you some really nice cushioning. I'll keep my knee here while we're doing this lunge. We're going to take both hands to the inside of your front foot, and we're going to lift up the arm closest to your foot. Then you're going to come down, and we're going to go the other way with the right arm lifting up. So give that a whirl, twisting both ways, inhaling and exhaling through the passage of the arm movements. You try to stack the arms. Whether you're doing this in the morning or the evening or midday, it is an all-purpose stretch. We're going to try to get into the whole body. Pause here. Come on up. And then we're going to send this leg off to the side. Now you might be on the floor. Good. And then from here, we're going to take a little side stretch as a hip opener and then rock out of it. A lot of dynamic stretches. So if you really haven't done much and you're going to use this practice for an all-purpose workout, having dynamic movement is really nice. All righty. Taking both hands down, we're going to take some hip circles. So we're going to have an all-purpose workout with dynamic movement, with mobility, with our regular yoga postures. Change directions. Make sure your toe is angled out. And we are working through the ball and socket joint of the hip. Definitely one of my favorite movements here. One more big circle. We're going to take the left leg straight back. Let's find some stability here. Draw your belly in. You're going to lift the leg, point the toe, then flex the foot. So some ankle movement along with strengthening our glute muscle. Point, flex, point, flex. If you want to add in more of a challenge, extend the opposite arm. But we're pointing and flexing this foot as the leg's moving up and down. Building some heat through our core. Waking up the stabilizer muscles. Try one more. Good. Bring both knees down. My mat's still folded. I like that. Push your hips back. We're going to take a child's pose. And then rock forward, coming up onto our knees again. Inhale, lift up. We'll take some rotation side to side from both knees before we hit the lunge. Good, so twisting, 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 looking over our shoulder. More reaching overhead. Always reminding our body to get full access of all ranges. Full access of all range of motion. One more. We're going to swing our right leg forward. Good, so find your balance here. Let your hands come down to the inside of your front foot. You can open up the hips. I'm going to creep my foot a little more forward. I am still using that little bit of padding under my knee. I like it. I like it. Yeah. And then we're going to twist. Hand closest to your foot comes up. You stack your shoulders. Then you come down and switch. Now, I have had my knee down the entire time. If you choose to pick your back knee up, that's fine. But I really want you to focus on keeping the hips still, not twisting. And that is why my knee is staying down. And getting those shoulders to stack. We'll do one more on each side. Absolutely lovely. And then we'll come into this half kneeling position. Pull the leg off to the side so your toe points away from you. onto our hands and circle through the hip. Now you might let that leg drift a little farther away. The right foot can drift a little farther away if that gives you better access to your stretch. Nice wrist mobility drill as well as we transfer body weight behind, around, and in front of the wrists. Can you change directions of that circle? What a great warm-up. Draw your belly in. Think about your posture. And then hold. Send your right leg straight back. Find stability here. Hips are square. Belly's drawn in. Let's point the toe, lift the leg, flex the foot. So ankle work, point and flex. Butt strengthening work. We all like to strengthen our butts, right? And if you want to add in more stabilizer muscles, we are basically in our bird dog posture, reaching out with the left hand. Watch, you don't arch your back. Let's have a strong bird dog. Can we do 2 more? That should seal the deal. We'll take our knees down. Now, this time we're going to do child's pose, and you're going to take your knees real wide. We're going to take this as a hip opening. Now, in frog, we flare the toes out like this, but I'm fine with your toes being pointed and tucked underneath you. But a wide-legged child's pose, and see if you can really sink down into your mat. Long, deep breaths once again. Body becoming more forgiving in this position. All right, we are going to sit on our butts, sitting tall in a straddle position. We're going to take a side bend and drop our shoulder to the inside of the thigh. See where we can go there. So getting some lateral movement, right? We've done flexion and extension of the spine. We've done rotation and twisting. We'll get in some side bending here. Stupendous. One more on each side. One of my favorite stretches for sure. Feet are flexed, toes are pointing upward. And then back to our center. We're going to start with our heels down on the ground, windshield wiper the legs side to side. Little massage on the hips, turning your head, looking over your shoulder. And then we're going to add in a leg extension. Now for a little special for the outside of the hip, you're going to twist and hold. And from here, you are going to lift and lower this straight leg. Now I like to hold a twist, look over my shoulder, chest is up. And this moving leg really should be above the bent knee if you can make that happen in your body. And your right toe, if that's the leg you're moving, the toe is dialed down, so not pointing upward, and that will make a big impact in how you utilize the muscles across your hip. All right, let's try it on the other side. So sweep over, straighten your leg, try to get it above the bent knee, look away from that straight leg, puff up your chest a little bit. Yeah. So that puffing of the chest is actually quite important. It helps create that long spine. We're not slouching, we're not being lazy. Is your toe dialed down as you go up and down with the straight leg? Yeah, just try to get it as straight as possible. If it's bent a little, no big deal. Got to meet your body where it's at. And then we'll sit with our feet coming together, the soles of your feet coming together. And you can kind of massage the arch of your foot, right? So you want to open the bottoms of the feet towards the sky. And then with that, let's just sit tall. And we'll do some head circles. Drop your chin in and circle your head. If you need to let the feet drift out a little, make yourself more like a kite, that's okay. You can try that. Change directions. And I like to do these neck stretches, any kind of shoulder stretches a little bit later in the practice once my body is a little warm. Finishing up with one more circle. Look straight down. Now look up, puff up the chest again. Voila. We are going to swing our body around. We can be in a prone position and set up our high plank. So in our high plank, our hips are just below our shoulders, right? So I don't want you up here and I don't want you sagging here, but you're braced tight and you're in a real nice solid plank. You could dilute the movement and drop to the knees if needed. From here, we're going to move into down dog. And when you're in this down dog, I invite you to pedal out the feet, shift the weight side to side, work out the kinks and the tight areas. If downward dog isn't your pose, you can take child's pose. You can work from your forearms. Always options. All right, let's press both heels down, holding this downward dog. And we'll walk our feet forward, working our feet between our hands. And then we're just going to let the body sway side to side. Just a little sway side to side. Drag your fingertips across the mat. You can cradle your elbows in your fingers and sway here. Kind of a monkey swing, if you will. Hold still, rolling up one vertebrae at a time. Voila! I might have to trim my tree back. Chair pose. Inhale, lift. Exhale, chair pose. Now, as I set my stance here, my feet are close together. I'm shifting my hips back and down as I sit. Up and hold. We're going to swan dive down, arms go wide, forward fold. Inhale, half lift. And then as we fold, we're going to send our left leg behind us for a long, wide stride into our lunge. Now we've done our lunges already. We're going to come right into a standing lunge, finding stability, and then pivot your back foot and we'll settle into warrior one. Strong warriors. We're going to take our arms in a big circle here, working through our shoulders. We've done a lot of mobility work already for our shoulders. We'll bring in a little more here with big arm circles. This will also challenge your warrior one and your stability because we have moving parts. When your arms come overhead, just change directions of that circle. Strong warrior. Your front knee is bent 90 degrees. Arms come overhead and hold. Strong warriors. Straighten your front leg and you're going to pull your back heel in. We're going to set warrior two. So I'll tend to just kind of reconfigure this front foot, getting the front heel aligned with the arch of my back foot. So now we are in warrior two. You're going to interlock your fingers and you're going to sweep your arms in a little circle. Now be cautious of the straight leg behind you. You can bend the knee a little bit to create that circle. And then we're going to change directions of our warrior two double arm circle. We'll get both ways going. And you're pumping through this right thigh for sure. I love the shoulder stretch with our hands interlocked. Let's take one more and reset warrior two. Ooh, those thighs are getting a workout for sure. Shoulders relaxed. Straighten your front leg and let's transition to triangle pose. Reach and side hinge down. Look to your top hand. In this triangle pose, we're going to sweep the top arm down, tap the inside of your ankle, and then lift back up, right? So through warrior one, warrior two, and triangle, we have moving body parts, making all these postures dynamic because we're moving and adding instability into these postures through our arm movements. Just switches up the game a little bit in our postures and refreshing for our mind to have a little variety, but also just a new challenge. Arm comes up and hold. Look to your top hand. Fantastic job. Let's settle into a low lunge again, which we have practiced. Send both feet back. We're going to push our hips back to the heels of our feet and then rock forward. Now you can always put your knees down. One more. Hold in your plank and lower your chest down. Point your toes. We're going to lift for cobra. We're going to do a little shoulder work here by taking our fingers to our temples and then lowering our chest. You're going to tap both elbows down and then lift your elbows up. So your head doesn't need to rest on the mat, but you don't need to lift your chest like you were doing a true cobra pose. So keep your neck comfortable, your head in alignment with the spine, and just tap the elbows to the ground and then draw the shoulder blades together, retracting them and seeing if you can draw them down your spine a little bit. Just a few more. Okay, set your palms on the mat. Let's push up into a high plank. Take downward dog. And slowly walk your feet forward between your hands. Holding this forward fold, let's interlock our hands above our back, or interlock our fingers, I should say, and let your arms just kind of drift over the back. Let your head hang, open up space in your cervical vertebrae. You can roll the head a little bit in circles if you wanted. All right, just take away any tension or tightness through the neck. Drop your fingertips back towards the mat. Inhale, half lift. Let's create that long spine, pulling your chin in, tucking your tailbone under. I do half lifts often in all my practices. Exhale, reach for your toes. Bend your knees a little, reverse swan dive, coming all the way up. And chair pose. Settling into your chair pose. How low can you go? Inhale, lift. We have that whole leg sequence now on the other side. Swan dive down. Inhale, half lift. And then as you fold, send your right leg behind you. So you're in your low lunge, but you know we're not going to be there long. Rise up, standing lunge, and then plant your back foot flat for warrior one. We're going to do arm circles again, but this time just a little transition. We're going to bend our elbows. So with bent elbows, arm circles. I'm going to call these shoulder circles because that is where we are initiating the movement from, through your shoulder girdle. Try changing directions, opening through the front of your body. Long, deep breaths. We will reset warrior one. Fingertips lift, arms straighten. Strong warriors. Moving into warrior two, pull your back heel in. If you need to take your feet a little wider, just get yourself organized, right? You don't have to rush into this posture. Warrior two, your chest is parallel to whatever is in front of you. And now you'll interlock your fingers, pick a direction, and we circle. Right? We'll ultimately go both ways. So it doesn't matter how you start, but you power from that front leg. It bends, it straightens a little, doesn't lock out. Are you ready to change directions? Let's go. Change directions. Keep those arms close to your body. One more, and we will reset warrior two. Gazing over your front hand, shoulders relaxed, strong warriors. Straightening your legs so we prepare for triangle. Reach, keep reaching, and then side hinge. Now your hand might again land on your leg. It might then slide down towards your foot. A block under your hand's a great tool to use to bring the floor higher. Let's settle into this triangle pose. And then we add the dynamic movement. Top arm comes down, touches the inside of your ankle, and then lifts back up. Exhale, tap. Inhale up. Remember, we're all going to look different. And that is a good thing. Why would you want to be identical to somebody else? Right? You be you. And we will hold triangle together. Staying in triangle. And from triangle, we'll move into our low lunge. Pick up your back heel. And then send both feet back. High plank. Chest is going to lower down. You can lift for cobra. Stay here. You can advance into up dog, but that's your choice. And down dog. We're going to come to our knees. I have one more big challenging move for you ahead. And we're going to set our forearms parallel to one another. We're going to set up a side plank. Now, once you're in the side plank, I'm going to encourage you to keep your bottom knee down. Top arm up, leg up. Now you're going to tap back behind you, reach in front, and the bottom hip drops. And then you pull yourself back in line. This is a hip dominant exercise. We are doing a hip driving movement. Stretch and up. Stretch and up. If you begin to fatigue, you can hold your side plank, or you can rest your hip down and do something in this fashion. But you start losing the hip driving if your hip is down. But you're going to have to build to it. You can do a few repetitions and then rest your hip. We got 2 more. Ooh, hoo, hoo, hoo. Hold. And then we're going to come to both knees. You have your kneeling plank here, and then roll to the other side to set up. So find your positioning, be confident where you're at, and then go for your reach. Right, so your hip doesn't have to touch the floor, but it gets pretty close to the floor. Are you breathing? Inhaling and exhaling, driving from that bottom hip. We got 2 more. Ooh-wee. I didn't say it was going to be easy, did I? Hold. Come to your front plank. Walk your hands onto the mat. Now we are going to take a thread the needle posture. I'm going to have you send your right arm underneath, so that's a nice stretch, and let your head rest. And then you're going to take your left arm and lift up if you can. If that doesn't work for you, you can keep the hand down. Yeah. All right, let's switch. Thread the needle the other side. See if we can knot ourselves all up. Let the side of your face rest, your shoulder relaxed. Arm comes up. If it doesn't, that's okay. Good healthy twist here. That's a challenge, both hands down. And then we're going to have a seat on the mat as we finish up with some final stretches. So we are going to sit in a traditional bend to both knees, but then take your foot and see if you can press this knee down. And while you do that, we're going to lean back. Good. I actually did this stretch in just my very last video I sent out. Some variations to it, but the idea of using your foot to push this leg down and then lean back. Sit up, and let's try that on the other side. So bending the knees and then sending your foot over that knee so we can lean back and stretch through the quadricep, hip flexor. Good. We're going to do another variation of this on our back here in a moment, but this is a good warm-up before that begins. We're going to sit tall here, cross one leg over the other. We'll get to both, doesn't matter which side you do. You're going to lift your chest up, hinge, and then tuck your chin in and roll up. Just do that one more time. Hinge, tuck your chin in, roll up. Oh, that's nice. Switch sides. Fold, tuck, and roll. Oh my gosh, I can just feel that all the way from the bottom of my foot up my IT band. All right, we're going to lay on our back. And like I said, we're going to take another quadricep hip flexor stretch. So I usually like to lift my hips to start this stretch out, and then I feed my foot under my leg and reach for my foot. I push the bottom leg into the mat, pushing off that bottom leg to lift my hips higher. So you might feed your bottom leg under a little differently. You might not be able to catch your foot like I have mine. Let's see what your body can come up with. And we'll stay here. Lower your hips. Send your feet back parallel to one another. Lift your hips if you can, feed the other foot through. So it's a very similar stretch than we did just a moment ago, seated. Quadricep and hip flexor, but we're adding a strengthening component by holding this single leg bridge. Good stuff. Thread. We'll take some good old-fashioned hip lifts with our feet parallel to one another. Make sure your fingers can touch your feet so we are in a good distance apart. Hips up and down. And every time you lift those hips, once again, you should actually experience a stretch through your quadricep and hip flexor. But we are strengthening the backside of our body, our posterior chain. Lots of hip movement today from those side planks when we were driving from our hip. Lift and hold. Take your right leg up in the air, cross it over. We're going to finish with some figure 4 stretches. So you're in a figure 4 bridge. It's good strengthening work, but we're going to take it as a stretch, lowering our hips and pulling our legs in. Now you can move a little side to side if you wish, or you can just hold and enjoy that stretch there. I want you to reset your figure 4 bridge with your right foot still anchored on your thigh. Now, place both feet down. Lift your left leg up and anchor your left ankle over your thigh, opening your hip. Let's just hold the single leg bridge for a moment and then lower down. Moving into our stretch. Reset your figure 4 bridge. Both feet down, still holding your bridge. Ooh la la. And then lower your hips. We did butterfly at the beginning of practice, seated. So now we're just going to take reclined butterfly. Soles of the feet together, knees drift out. I like to kind of take the crevice of my hands and push into my hips, kind of get some hip separation here. That just feels good for my body. You can do it if you like, or you can press your hands onto your inner thighs to open the hips a little bit more. But in the end, we'll lay one hand on the belly and one hand on the chest. Take some big breaths as we conclude our practice. Oh, fabulous job. Huge success. Well, I feel I could stay here for another 15 minutes. I'm not going to ask that of you, but should you decide to stay here, you are welcome to just be in this moment. But for now, I'm going to go ahead and have us sit together, knees draw together, come into a seated posture. Remember, you can return to your reclined butterfly pose because that felt good. Thank you for joining me today. Please hit like, hit subscribe, tune in for more, and I'll see you next time on Balance, Body, and Beyond. Namaste. Have a great day. Thank you.